All right, here we go. Well, guys, this is AJ Joma, co-founder and CEO of Seven Figure Skills. You guys probably already know who I am. I have with me today Kurt Prosser, who's someone who's actually recently been added to the team, and he's working on running my current ads for my dropship stores, my high-ticket dropship stores. I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to meet Kurt. So we're doing a separate joint webinar with Kurt and I. And right now it's Monday around 2:21 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we had just gone over my existing ad campaign because Kurt manages my ad campaigns every month, usually every few days, every week, to make sure it's optimized and that we're scaling and growing. So I'm taking this time to introduce Kurt. I'll let him come in a second and introduce himself to you guys for the first time. But as you get accustomed to me, to my program, to the community at Seven Figure Skills, I think you're going to be seeing Kurt around on a regular basis, because if there's anything that is as important as understanding the method of high-ticket dropshipping, launching your own business online, conversion and optimization, if there's anything as important as any of those factors, it's probably on the very top of that list will probably be traffic, right? And how to drive traffic and how to set up your ad campaign. And that's where Kurt comes in. He's actually the guy that runs my ad campaigns because I don't have time to do mine, and I'm not as good as he is by any stretch of the imagination. So as you guys already know, I always bring the very best to come in and help you guys. So when it came to the Shopify theme, and I'll just share this with you, Kurt, as well, I could have created and had a developer create my own Shopify theme for really cheap, and had a pretty decent theme put together that wouldn't have cost me anything other than the initial development. And then I could have repackaged it and sold it to everybody that joined on my course. But instead, what I did is I went out there and I got what I thought, based on my existing experience with my business partner and myself, and what I run on my stores and what I've seen other people do, is the best Shopify theme out there that I can come up with, which is Shoptimize. And I went to the founder of Shoptimize, who's an expert in conversion and in optimization. I mean, he's worked with Fortune 500 companies on their multi-billion-dollar e-commerce stores and advised them before he did his own theme. So another example is what I'm doing with you, obviously, is I could have easily taught a Google PLA or Google Shopping or any sort of traffic course myself, but I said, no, let me bring somebody who's way more skillful than I am to teach the community as well. So without further ado, Kurt, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about what you do, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, great. Well, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, like I said, my name's Kurt Prosser, so I specialize in Google Shopping and traffic for Google Shopping traffic for e-commerce stores. So my background is I was an engineer and sort of fell in love with marketing. So decided to focus on really the data intensive marketing, and the perfect market for that is e-commerce and paid advertising. So it's what I decided to focus on several years ago, and just got started doing Google Shopping back before it even, right when I first started, and have been with it ever since. So really my core specialization is Google Shopping for Shopify stores. So really work on a wide range of book clients, but like AJ said, the high ticket items that people specifically search for do best. I mean, if you think about Google Shopping, it is, really intent based searching. Someone's actually going to Google, searching for a product or searching for a solution, and seeing the ads that come up. So that's really a little bit about me. I think if there's anything else I missed. Like I said, I've been in e-commerce for a while. Currently run Easton Digital, which is an e-commerce agency that specializes in Google Shopping, and have my own e-commerce stores, actually in lighting. So some of the examples that I'll mention throughout our interactions will be in the lighting sector, because I know that a lot. But I think that's pretty much it about me. So any other questions that you have, AJ, or anything else that I may have missed?
Sure. No, that pretty much gives people an idea of what you do. So you have your own ad agency. And so people, basically e-commerce store owners like myself, retain you on a monthly basis to run, set up, and manage our ad campaigns, right?
Yeah.
To a degree.
Right, and it really comes down to a couple things. One is it's an e-commerce business owner that is too busy to sort of get started, too busy to do it themselves, too busy to sort of follow all the Google steps, and so needs to outsource it to someone who's reliable, that dedicated, that can really sort of focus on it, day in and day out. The second case is when people, it just can get overwhelming. Larger accounts or highly competitive markets can just get overwhelming for an internal team or a e-commerce business owner to manage themselves. So they'll seek a sort of expertise at that point, and especially in the later case, that is, if you're in a highly competitive market or a market with lots of volume, lots of I'd say competition around keywords and a lot of broad keywords, there are a lot of issues that you can face, and bringing an expert to look at something, look for ways to optimize your account, improve your results can be a huge difference. We're working with a company that sells large packs of goods. So I mean, think of 200 count of product X, and they're running their count themselves for a number of years, and weren't sort of up to speed with a lot of the changes in Google, and particularly around mobile, and we're losing several $1,000s a month on their mobile traffic. And making a quick change in their mobile traffic drove an extra like $10,000 a month in profit.
Wow. Wow.
So there's a lot of little things like that if you're on those high volume accounts, those highly competitive markets, that if you just make some small tweaks can make a big difference.
Sure. No, that makes it. No, you're exactly right, actually. And the small tweaks are really what's could be the difference between a successful dropship store or e-commerce store and a failed one, right? And
right.
Sometimes it's just not knowing what you don't know because you haven't been in those situations, but you have. I'm talking about in general,
yeah.
like newbies. So tell me, what are some of the reasons why you decided to focus on Google, shopping, advertising, or Google AdWords in general over, say, what everyone else seems to be doing, which is Facebook and Instagram? And I know you still do those things, but why has that been your focus?
Yeah. Well, no, that's a good question. So actually, I really, mostly because of when I started. So when I started, it was SEO was all the rage. Everybody was doing SEO. Everybody talked about SEO, but to me, SEO really didn't have the long-term nature, the long-term benefit that, or long-term potential that I thought advertising. Google at that time, I think it was like 2012 or I forget the year it was, but Google came out with a policy that said, look, we don't like these people manipulating our search results and using all these, content sites and doing all this stuff to sort of circumvent traditional or what Google deemed at that time as how they wanted sites to rank. And so it just seemed a very, gray hat, very black hat type stuff. So I focused on advertising and have just been doing Google Shopping ever since. I mean, the market potential for Google Shopping is still huge. I mean, between Amazon and Google, I think it's like 80, 90% of the market starts with one of those two. And, particularly with Google, there's a lot of unique elements to it. I mean, someone could go to Google and search for a solution. I mean, I say that often. They may have a problem like trying to find a light that fits behind a couch. They're not sure what they look like, what they're looking for, but they're looking for a problem or a solution to their problem. Sometimes they go to Google and they look for just a specific product, like a certain lamp or certain lamp manufacturer. So there's a lot there. And I think if, whether it's a Google Shopping, the text ads, the remarketing through Google, the dynamic remarketing, there's a lot of different things that can be done within Google to sort of, grow an e-commerce business. And so that's why I decided just to sort of focus in on that, not worry about, SEO or, I do a little bit of Facebook remarketing for clients, but don't do any sort of Facebook ad builds or anything like that. But really just sort of focusing on Google, and because of the market potential, because of what's available within Google and its ability to sort of grow an e-commerce business. So.
So would you say that for someone looking to launch a store on in a niche that's high ticket, I'm talking about anything that costs $500 or more, um, are people going to be, would you say Google's the place people are going to be searching for their product most likely, or would it be Facebook or some other platform?
No, that's a really good question. So that question, that's by far and away is one of the biggest things that come up when talking with e-commerce companies. And sort of have to go in your mind of your customer. I mean, when I'm on Facebook, when people are on Facebook, it's sort of like that impulse purchase. They see a T-shirt that has a cool slogan or something. Okay, they're going to buy it. But if I'm looking for a $2,000 light fixture, I'm not going to just click an ad on Facebook and buy it then. I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to research it. I'm going to find, that suppliers or e-commerce websites that are offering that product. I may go to their contact page, see where they're located. I'm going to do some, a lot more research. Those high-ticket items, there's a lot more sort of thought that goes into purchasing it. And so that's why, particularly with Google Shopping and Google Advertising in general, you'll see in your Google Analytics that people visit multiple times before they buy. They just don't click and buy right then. It's usually they click, they think about it, they look at it, they may come back the next day or a couple days later, and they buy, or they may happen within that same hour window, but they visit multiple times and they click multiple ads and before they buy. And so high ticket, I think, is really good. Is a really good market for Google Shopping, and I think I think that'd be the best thing, I think, for Google Shopping.
So what advice would you give a new e-commerce entrepreneur who launches a new store for the first time and is running their first ad campaign on Google? What advice would you give them to make sure
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's two things I would say. I said one is really try to get in the mind of your customer. Who's your customer and what are they looking for? How are they searching? What is the solution that they're trying to find? So really trying to get in your mind of your customer. I think that's sort of the number one thing. And then the next thing I would say is just get started. Get started with a campaign, with a single campaign. Get some data. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people will come to me and say, "Oh, I haven't set up anything. I haven't started anywhere. How much is it going to cost? How much of is it going to what's my conversion rate going to be?" You really don't know unless you set up something. So it's sort of like riding a bike. Like just you get started, get going on it, and then you sort of figure it out. The more you do it, and so you then can realize, okay, now it's time to go to a professional. Now it's time that I need help. I need expertise. I'm specifically struggling in this area, or my CPC is too high, so now I need to go to an expert. So I think just getting started and really getting the mind of a customer, those are the two things I recommend.
Okay, great advice. And if someone is launching their first ad campaign and they're opting to do it themselves, which is perfectly fine. As you know, in our course, and guys, by the way, Kurt will be in Dropship Academy 2.0. Kurt's going to be teaching our advanced Google Shopping course. So you guys are going to learn straight from one of the best, I think, in the business right now on how to set up your first ad campaign, what kind of key metrics to look at and KPIs to measure, and at least get you in the door front and center so you can go ahead and start running your ad campaigns. In addition, for our Done For You members that opt to have us do their website and ad campaign, in the future, my plan is to have Kurt be the one who at least initially sets up your ad campaign, and then you guys take over after watching his lessons. So Kurt, I just wanted to kind of recap that for our members and yourself so you guys both understand the dynamic of what they're going to be going through. And if someone's going to go it alone, right? My original question, and launch their first ad campaign. What resources or tips would you refer them to get that help in launching their own ad campaign initially, if that's just what they decide to do?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So there's a couple. Fortunately, for most most things that you'll need to set up your own campaign and get started is just easily available on Google. So you just go to Google AdWords help. They have a very good help page that sort of walks you through how to set up a Google Merchant Center account, which is your first step. You have to set up a Google Merchant Center account. And the next step 2 is really sort of connecting AdWords and Google Merchant Center. And then sort of step 3 is creating your first Google Shopping campaign. So everything is available right on Google AdWords, and just to be clear too, I do recommend that people trying it first, setting up themselves, sort of getting started on their own, because that sort of can help, help the consultant that comes in later after your account has grown, after you've got things going. It can really help the consultant later sort of quickly optimize it, quickly improve it, and sort of take it to the next level. There's just so many resources available right on Google that it's very easy to sort of set up yourself and get started. And so I'd recommend starting there.
Very good. Great advice, Kurt. Great advice. What can they expect to learn from you if they were to join Dropship Academy and they got to the point where they're setting up their ad campaign and they're watching your lessons?
That's a good question. So it's sort of 2 things that I like to go over with people. One is really, the basics, really sort of what are the basics to help you get started? So what are the basic setup, the basic how to create the campaign, how to connect it to, what type of data feed should you be using, or data feed tools should be using from Shopify, a lot of those basic stuff. And then also, what are the tripping points that most people face? What are the things that a lot of people do that, or I should say do wrong? Like, for example, not adding a mobile bid adjustment, setting up a display campaign, and not excluding site categories. Like, because setting up a display campaign and running your apps or running your display ads on mobile apps that kids are just sitting there clicking over and over again is just a complete waste of money. So the basic stuff, getting everything set up. What are the red flags? What are things that you should be looking out for? And then the second thing I would say is the more advanced stuff. So there's a lot of advanced strategies that higher volume accounts use, a lot, agencies, sort of professionals like myself use, that can help, boost your performance, such as search term targeting, such as data feed optimization, keyword stuffing on your product data feed. There's a lot of sort of advanced topics that people can use, and but those are the sort of 2 things I would want to talk about.
One of the common questions I get asked, and I'm sure you do as well, is how fast should they expect to start seeing results? Right, their first what kind of once they set up their ad campaign, what are the timeframes that they should be looking at to see, okay, am I getting sales in? Is this working? Things like that.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So it really is a hard question to answer, because Google, there's a couple things that you'll face. One is competition. The competition in the market can sort of have pros and can create challenges as far as getting traffic right away. The second thing is Google does tend to favor more established accounts, more established advertisers that spend a high amount, per click. They have really good quality scores, so it can take you a little bit of time to get things up there. And the third, I guess another thing would be your data feed. How good is your product data versus some of your competitors? For example, the lighting industry. That's a real big problem that a lot of companies face, is if their data feed's junk. They don't have UPCs. They don't have brand information. It's almost impossible to get placements alongside of some of the big companies who have really good data feed. So in general, with all those challenges, I would, in my opinion, typically is set aside a test budget and say, look, I'm going to run the test budget and see what the numbers are. Of course, you want to make sure your account's set up correctly. Pay attention to all the red flags that I mentioned, like the mobile bid, the targeting. A lot of those sort of red flags. But get it set up in the best way possible. Run a test budget and see what the numbers are. And then you can sort of better understand, okay, what's the real market potential? What, how much competition is there? How long is it going to take me to get up in those top places? You don't know unless you set it up. And I think once you set that up and you spend the first couple $100, $500, then you'll get to understand, okay, how will this go over the long run, and sort of what is the potential? So.
Very good. Hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish that thought.
Oh, no. I was going to say, sometimes it can be as short as a couple days, and sometimes I've seen it take, 30, 60 days until you sort of break through and get some traffic. So that's what I'd recommend.
Excellent. Excellent. So that's a great answer. And there's never a direct answer, right? There's never like, oh yeah, in 7 days you should expect to see sales come in. It's just always is a variable. I know exactly what you mean, and I know most of the community, but most people just kind of wish they knew, like, okay, will I make money within this time period? And there's obviously a lot more questions that go into it that people are going to have and want to ask you. So I know for a fact that you'll cover it in the course. And when we released Dropship Academy 2.0, my release date, guys, I'm setting is for next Friday, which I think is going to be like, I don't know, the first week of August, obviously, or going into the second week. I don't know the actual day. But next Friday from today's, July 25th. So let me look at my calendar real quick and tell you guys exactly when that is. So I just had it up. Here it is. All right, so we're looking at August 4th. August 4th is when Dropship Academy 2.0 should be released with Kurt's lessons in it. So you guys can expect that. If you're members, you already get access to it. If you're not members, then I strongly encourage you to enroll before we take down the course this week in order to update it, because the prices will go up. Also, Kurt, if someone wants to, obviously initially I want them to go through Dropship Academy, become members, and then have access to you. But is there an option for them to utilize and take advantage of your services to manage their ad campaign after they join Dropship Academy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they can just go to our website, Easton Digital. So it's EASTON digital.com, and you can just contact us through there.
And do you think that we can maybe provide them some sort of exclusive offer or price point for being Dropship Academy members?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could definitely do that. And I think, just sort of off the top here, I'm just thinking I can be happy to do sort of a free audit. There
you go, guys.
Dropship members. So again,
excellent.
That can save you a lot of headache
a lot
of pain.
I know a bunch of people that would take advantage of that right now, Kurt. I'm pretty sure a lot of my members are going to want to take advantage of that. Okay. So would you be okay with coming back possibly next week when I host, because I'm hosting on Tuesday, August 2nd, my third mastermind call with my community. So if there's some availability, we can discuss after this to maybe participate for like 15 minutes. I just want my existing members to maybe see you live and just give you a chance to introduce yourself. Is that possible to join us next week?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That sounds great. Yeah.
All right, guys. I just wanted to give you a chance to meet Kurt, discuss some advanced Google, PLA stuff and AdWords stuff, and really just in general. Guys, don't even think of it as Google versus Facebook or Google versus that. This is literally, as you guys know, 90% of my traffic and the business that I generate comes from Google. And then we retarget on Facebook and things like that, and Pinterest and Instagram and all the cool stuff out there. But Google by far is still our main traffic source. And so if you guys have any questions, please comment on the box below, or if you're have a question pertaining to joining Dropship Academy, taking advantage of Kurt's services, maybe seeing his lessons in our course, then send me an email or my success coaches an email to coach@sevenfigureskills.com, right? So that's coach@sevenfigureskills.com. And of course, you guys can always message me, aj@sevenfigureskills.com, whether you want to get in contact with Kurt, whether you want to see the lessons, whether you want to join Dropship Academy, contact me and I'll be happy to forward you to Kurt and set up that connection and that initial interjection. So without further ado, Kurt, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. and being a
Yeah.
guest for you today. So you and I obviously are working together as it is because you're running my ad campaign. So we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Any last thoughts you want to leave the community?
No, I just say get started. I mean, that a lot of people just sort of put it off, put it off, put it off. Just go to Google, go to AdWords help, look at the help documents, get started, get something set up, and it's always better to get started than just wait. So get
Awesome.
started. That'd be my recommendation.
You guys heard it from the expert. Thank you so much, Kurt. And I'll
Yep.
hit you up with some time later. Thanks, man.
Okay. Sounds good. Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.